Hello and welcome to another episode of Toy Talks Wrestling. Today we're going to talk about Smackdown May 29th, 2025. This Smackdown was boring. I would just say that, but I mean there were some good parts, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, we'll start off with some lady stuff. Bianca Belair made her return back to SmackDown. They were in Tennessee, so it's not like she traveled very far. And he basically talked about how, her first loss at WrestleMania, how she's still recovering because she broke some of her fingers at WrestleMania, how she lost some friends with Naomi and Jade, and she's still dealing with that, and that Tennessee was her safe space. They also sang like some Tennessee automata or whatever, or school song or something. I don't know. I'm not from Tennessee. Something Rockies, something. I don't know. Anyways, and they sang that song and talked about how Tennessee is her safe space and how she just feels welcome and home, and he's always gonna be the EST in Tennessee and the EST in WWE and so on and so forth. And then Naomi comes out and says, finally, you're back, you're finally here. And Bianca Belair's like, Naomi, it's not the time, I'm just trying to this is not the time, not right now. And basically Naomi is like, well, I've been trying to call you and text you and sending you messages and everything else like that. And Bianca Belair is like, what do you want, Naomi? And it's like, Naomi's like, I just want you to forgive me. I need you to forgive me and everything else. And talk about the good times and all the other stuff. He says, I even went by your parents' house. But they weren't home, so I let myself in. Basically, she said that she's admitted that she breaks into Bianca Belair's parents and talked about how when she was in there, she saw a photo album and she was looking through a photo album and see how happy Bianca Belair was, and said that it reminded her of the times when her and Bianca were tag team champions and how happy she was and everything else like that. And Bianca Belair is like, look, you betrayed me, you betrayed my trust, and this is why we're no longer friends and everything else. And basically, if you come near my family again, I'm basically gonna kick your ass. And Naomi's like laughing and stuff like that. He's like, it would be ashamed if both you and your mother were end up in wheelchairs. I guess Bianca Belair's mom's like in a wheelchair. I didn't know this, but so she said it'd be a shame if you guys both went into the wheelchair. And then she's like, it'd be a shame if something happens to you right here, right now. And that's when Jade comes out. And Jade's music hits. She comes out and she pretty much attacks Naomi, and then has this weird stare off with Bianca Belair, and then goes and attacks Naomi again. And then Nia comes out because they have a triple threat qualifier match for Money in the Bank, which ended up having Naomi win after Nia Jax pretty much tried to do the Annihilator on both Jade and Naomi, but only got Jade, and then Naomi just got the pin off of that. So there's that. And then so Naomi will be in Money in the Bank. So far Naomi it's like my pick for the winner for Money in the Bank. I don't know who is. I think next week is the last qualifying match, and I think Stephanie Ventura might be in it. Liv Morgan might be in it. I don't know who the third person is. I can't remember. But yeah, my pick for the winner of Money in the Bank would probably be Naomi. But I don't know. We'll see what happens on Monday. Anyways, we had another women's match. We had Selena Vega versus Alba Fire. This was okay. Nothing to brag about, but Selena did win, even though the Alba Fire and crew tried to cheat. Selena's won, so I don't know if we're gonna still continue on with this feud or not. I have no idea. We had a male's qualifying match. We had Jacob Fatu versus Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes. At one point, Solo and JC Mateo come out, and they pretty much signed on the ring sign and everything else, even though Jacob did not want them there and everything else. But they were there, and at one point when Jacob pretty much had who was it? Carmelo Hayes is like dead to rights on this. I think he did the moonsault on him, and then Solo comes up on the apron and says, "Do it again, do it again, do it again." And Jacob is looking at him like, "What are you talking about?" Right? And then JC Mateo goes, "Do it again, do it again, do it again." At this point, we had Jimmy Uso had come in and attacked JC and Solo, and I think even Jacob. And then Andrade did the message with his finisher move on Carmelo Hayes and got the pin. So Andrade is qualified for Money in the Bank. Speaking of JC Mateo and Solo and Jacob, they were backstage, and R-Truth was talking to someone. We couldn't see him. I'm thinking it's little Jimmy, but I'm like, shouldn't little Jimmy be a little bit taller, because he was like looking down? But I don't know who he's talking to, but we couldn't see this person. But I think it's little Jimmy, unless little Jimmy had like a son and his name is little Timmy. I don't know. Well, there was never any names being called, so I don't know. Anyways, and then Solo comes in. He goes, "Look it." He's like talking first. He goes, "First his childhood hero beat him, and now he's talking to Ghost." Right? And he goes over and he's like, to JC Mateo, and he's like, "You're a husky little fella, aren't you?" And everything else. "We never seen you before. Who are you?" And goes, "Ask Solo, is this your son? Do you mind if I take your son to the ring and teach him a lesson?" And Solo's like, "Yeah, no, I don't mind at all. Go ahead." Right? And he's like, "I'm gonna go talk to Nick Aldis right now." And then you had Solo telling JC, go have fun and everything else, and Jacob too said, "Y'all go ahead and have fun. I got business to take care of." You know what I mean? Yada I mean. That's what he said. And that's when he had like his match for the qualifier. Anyway, so there was a match between JC Mateo and R-Truth, which was basically just JC Mateo just annihilating R-Truth. Finally beats him for the 1, 2, 3 pin after he does his finisher move, something Twirl the Islands or something like that. I don't fucking know what the name of the fucking move is called. And they started attacking R-Truth, and then Jimmy Uso comes out with the chair, and basically JC Mateo leaves the ring, and then Solo slowly leaves the ring, and everything else. Solo is trying to get Jimmy Uso to be back into their little bloodline thing. At one point, JC, after Solo was backing away from Jimmy, and JC pretty much attacks Jimmy from behind, and Solo starts to stop him, like, "No, we need him. We want him on our side. Don't attack him," and everything else like that. So, after all that, between what happened with Jacob Fatu and Solo and JC, and then Jimmy, I wouldn't be surprised if on we get a tag match between like Jacob and Jimmy versus Solo and JC Mateo in sometime near future. So be prepared for that, I guess. Yeah, sure. We had the Street Profits and Fraxium in the ring together. They were talking to each other, and basically Fraxium was like, let's run it back because we couldn't finish the match because of the Wyatt 6, and Martez 4 was like, well, if it wasn't for the Wyatt 6, we would have had you beat anyway, right? And the Fraxium guys were like, well, maybe, but we don't know because the Wyatt 6. And I'm like, how many times are y'all gonna mention the Wyatt 6? Is this like one of those, like, you keep mentioning them, like Beetlejuice 3 times and they come or whatever? Anyways, they kept mentioning the Wyatt 6 and talking about, well, they need to run it back and everything else and have another match and stuff like that. And then the Motor Machine Guns come out and Motor City Machine Guns come out, and they're like, neither one of you guys ever beat us and all this other stuff like that. I think we should get tag titles and everything else like that. And then the DIY with Candice LeRae comes out, and Candice LeRae is pretty much doing the talking now for DIY, called like the Motor Machine Gun nerds, and said that all other stuff, and then I think one of the Motor City Guns told Candice LeRae to shut up, and then that's when Johnny Gargano said something, and he said they voted for the Riot Six, and then Ciampa's like, stop saying their name, okay, just stop saying their name, don't say their name anymore, because bad things are going to happen. And then basically Ciampa's like, it's because the SmackDown tag team division is in shambles, is dead. It's all dead, and it's because of you and pulling out each tag team and everything else. I'm like, you know what? It's more livelier than the tag team than Raw, that's for sure. But that's just my opinion. And then they have it to where it's like, what do you call it? Since Ciampa's like, we need to have a moment of silence for the tag team division. Everybody stand up and bow their heads and close their eyes. And then when they said that, the lights go out and the Riot Six go and they basically attack everybody. Like, same thing they did last week. They just did it again. I'm just like, alright, cool, I guess. I'm like, why are they doing this? I mean, at this point, can you at least tell me why? We got it. Why you're attacking in the tag team division in the first place? I hope next week gets some kind of explanation. Okay, we already seen this already. You did this last week. We don't need to see it again. Okay, we just don't. So the last thing I want to talk about was the return of Cody Rhodes on SmackDown. Cody Rhodes comes out and he starts talking about how after WrestleMania he went home and he drowned himself in some whiskey. I'm like, you didn't drink your freaking weekly American vodka, what, or whatever it is. Is it vodka? I can't remember. Anyway, it might be whiskey. I don't know. Anyways, he drowned himself in booze, and he talked to a friend, and he asked the friend, was he a good champion? And the friend basically says that with everything that you have done in front of the camera and behind the scenes, you've been an excellent champion. Didn't say who the friend was. I'm thinking maybe it's Randy Orton. I don't know. Talked about how one of his best friends, Kevin Owens, sucker punched him. Talked about this, talked about that, talked about how The Rock wanted his soul and how that offer is still on the table. I'm like, it is? Really? Alright, cool. Sure, why not? He talked about a whole bunch of things. He talked about John Cena. He talked about how he hesitated with John Cena, but he's no longer going to hesitate with John Cena anymore. And then he said that he was just really upset and everything else, but he said he had a surprise for Tennessee, and obviously everybody knew because they were just yeeting. He goes, oh, feels like y'all want to yeet. So, and then Jey Uso comes out, and they yeet it, and they yeet it, and they yeet it, then they stop yeeting, then they yeet it some more, and then once they started yeeting the second time, or the fourth time, I don't know, I lost count, John Cena comes out. And basically just starts, John Cena calls them, both Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso wannabes. They want to be John Cena. They wanted his fame, they wanted his money, but one's too lazy, one's too stupid or some shit like that. And he said that the only person that has his work ethics and everything else is Logan Paul. And Logan Paul's there, and Logan Paul comes out, and Logan Paul basically just saying, like, calling Jay and Cody nepo babies, and calling him and John Cena made men because they had to like work their way. I'm like, actually, John Cena actually worked his way. You just got in by, because you're Logan Paul and you have all that fame. You're already famous, so and everything else like that. And basically they start talking about like how they're famous and everything else, and their fame, and how they're better, and how like he should have been champion, and it was because of Cody Rhodes and because they cheated. And I'm just like, did we not see John Cena try to jump Jay? Not try, he did jump Jay at Saturday Night's main event, or are we not talking about that? And I'm just like, isn't that that's what happened? I think that's what happened. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. But anyways, he's like, I should have been champion, and we both could have been champions and everything else like that. And he basically, Logan Paul's like, well, that's okay, you know, you're gonna come up against us if you want some on next week on Saturday. If you want some, come get some, and everything else like that. And I think they're about to leave, and Jey Uso's like, well, we don't even have to wait to Saturday. We can get this on right now, right? You know what I'm saying? Let's go, right? Cody Rhodes isn't saying anything. Cody Rhodes is taking off his jacket because he had a suit on, taking off his suit jacket and everything else like that. And John Cena was gonna leave, and Logan Paul was ready to fight, and John Cena was like, no, we're not gonna fight. And that kind of looked like they had like some kind of a disagreement and everything else like that. And Cody Rhodes like, why are y'all arguing for? Like, what are you gonna leave for? What are you gonna do? Go back there and clean his peacemaker? And I was like, okay, good one, Cody. I chuckled. That was good. And that's when John Cena got mad, and they started fighting and everything else. And basically, it ended up with John Cena and Logan Paul outside the ring, and then Jay and Cody in the ring with Cody music playing in the background. I don't know why we're having this match still. Maybe you'll get an explanation next week. I still don't know why we're getting this match. No idea. None whatsoever. Don't ask me. I have no clue. Yeah, it was so, I don't know. I'm so confused. Like I'm just so out of the mood of wrestling right now. Like seriously, I just want Money in the Bank to be over. Honestly. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you in my next video. Okay, bye.